It's too soon for us to be back in the field. Rideau was wrong to send us out.
Yeah. Anybody else wish you hadn't survived the train wreck? Oh, shit.
I watched you at the briefing. You don't like this place.
What is it? Rideau said you'd been here before.
Yeah, well... This place has got some history. Poking out of the sea like Lucifer's middle finger. No surprised Stroke came here to this piece of shit island. I'm just wondering why we followed him.
We need to find the rest of the sword before he does. We need to...
We know why you're here, Marie. At least this time you're not pretending to care about our cause.
This is different. We should have heavy fog all morning. If everything goes well, nobody will fire a shot.
Yeah, why have things ever gone well for a little tea party? Oh, shit. Oh, shit.
Stay close. Let's move, people.
Where's the other boat?
This damn island. This goddamn island!
Calme-toi.
This is a Generation Gaming production. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Generation Gaming. 65% more offensive than last week. And probably more offensive next week. Do-do-do-do-do.
Shut up and sit down.
Now, from Generation Studios, this is part 2 of Generation Gaming's review of Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies, The Darkest Shore, and The Shadowed Throne. Here is the Generation Zombies crew, the zombie connoisseur himself, Kickapooh, Generation Gaming's video producer, Autosauce, the man of 1,000 hugs, aka Mcnulty, and the voice of Generation Gaming, Jay Lewis. Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of Generation Gaming's review of Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies, The Darkest Shore, and The Shadowed Throne, DLC 1 and DLC 2 for Call of Duty World War II. Now, there is a part 1 to this, but that is on Twitch. That one didn't do it justice, so I'd like to maybe revisit that one day and do that in this format, podcast format, where we're not being sidetracked by playing a game and asking questions and talking about stuff at the same time. Because it was okay, but it would have been a lot better. But nonetheless, let's get down to business. Joining me today, it's supposed to be majority of the Generation Zombies crew, but Onosauce just had so much going on that he couldn't do it. But he might join us for the latter half. We'll see, I'm not sure yet. Nonetheless, joined today by Mcnulty's and Kickapooh. How's it going, Mcnulty's? How you doing, man?
Doing awesome.
Hey,
Excited.
How you doing? Kick, how you doing, buddy?
Doing amazing.
Yeah, man.
How about you?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate this. This should be good. So basically what this is just our opinion, our review of D1, The Darkest Shore, and DLC 2, The Shadowed Throne, and everything in between. So we're going to cover everything you would, expect that would be covered on a map, but from our own perspective. So let's start it with DLC 1, The Darkest Shore. So what I kind of based it on was map size, wonder weapons, Easter eggs, the good, the bad, new zombies types, gameplay, things like that. So what I'm going to kind of do is just kind of go off on that, and then I'm going to give ask their opinions on stuff that I'm mentioning. So basically, The Darkest Shore. Let's see. The mission briefing for that went as follows. Sea Fortress in Keystone to the power of the Nazi Kriegsmarine, which is a naval warfare branch of the Nazi German military. This mist-shrouded island hides secrets both ancient and terrifying. Now, this was the place that Dr. Schraub essentially created his Untoten army, if you will. Let's start, I guess, with the map first and the size of it. And I think it's almost like I feel like this map, maybe the size of it, really deterred people. Because after the Final Rank came out, I feel like everybody just shit all over World War II Zombies right away. And I don't know if that was because of how the gameplay was. It could have been the casual Easter egg. I think it was numerous things. I don't think it was one specific thing. What about this map do you like? Because I remember the first time we actually got into it, and I remember reading the achievements beforehand, and you'd see one of the achievements was explore all the hidden areas on the map. So in my mind, I'm like, wow, there's other areas. So like, I automatically expect it to be big, or have these other secret areas. But there were secret areas. But I must admit, one of the downfalls of this map was the size. This is literally, going back and I checked it, this is the smallest Call of Duty Zombies map out of any Call of Duty that has a main Easter egg. It is so tiny, and I don't know, I think that might have deterred people. I guess we'll start out with Mcnulty first. What do you think about the size of the map?
To me, I thought it was perfect.
Really?
Because, all the shortcuts around it.
Right.
And like with you, the hidden areas really intrigued me. So going into it, I thought it was perfect.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, I just was like, it made it, if anything, it made it more difficult because it was to complete like 360, 180, whatever you want to call it, from the Final Rank. Where that map was very big. It was probably one of the bigger maps I think I've played in Zombies. Kick, what about you? Did you like the size of the map? Was it too small? Was it too big? Or what do you think?
I think it fell in the middle, to be honest. Like what Mcnulty was saying earlier. Like, it feels perfect because you're making like 180 and 360 turns. Like, you're just going a big circle, and you're making shortcuts and all that.
Right.
So I kind of thought it was okay, and it was confined, which I didn't mind it, but
yeah,
it just the confinement. It's probably all I had a problem with.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it's funny. Like, I thought like it would have, before we did the Easter egg, like when we first started, like you opened up the map and everything, and I was like, I don't want this to hurt. I was worried it was going to hurt the Easter egg, but Cameron Dayton and Sledgehammer Games developed this Easter egg specifically for the size of this map. Now, the other reason why the map is the size that it is because that they just still don't to this day, but they have more people helping them now. It sounds crazy as it is. Sledgehammer is actually short-staffed in the Zombies area, which is ridiculous because a company like Activision, who is $1 billion company, you figure would at least help them some way or another to get more employees or more developers and whatnot, and they didn't. That was one reason why the map was the size it was. That's what Cameron Dayton says. For me, I would look at it. It's not a small map. It's like a medium-sized map. Like cliffside bunkers, underground subpen, new features like the minecart system. It's very close quarters. Like on the high rounds, I think we high rounded. Maybe Kick and I did it. We kind of rounded one time. Getting to 30. That's the thing about World War II Zombies is when you get to 25. Everything goes completely shit. Like, it's just like everything, they go so much more hardcore on you. They hit you 2 times and they take away like 2 shields. It's much more intense. And I don't mind that, but it's like, I almost feel like there's a gap there they're missing with that. Like, it's like it just goes right there, it's in your face, and it's not, there's no gradual, tempo like the other ones do. Now, they might have changed it a little bit. Is there any part of the map that you didn't like, or is it just you liked it in general? What about you, Mcnulty?
Could you repeat that?
Is there any part of the map that you didn't like you disliked, you had an issue with?
Definitely the underground. I can't remember the name of it. The submarine.
Yeah, submarine
bunker.
Pad? Yeah.
Only because of the Easter egg step. Those fire floors, man. Oh my god! And trying to dodge zombies.
Yeah.
And whistling and bombers. Jesus
that's
Christ.
bad. Yeah, that
It
had
gets
to be
hectic.
probably really bad. I'm glad you said that because I'll skip ahead a little bit. Yeah, see, the main Easter egg, if I had one part, and I kind of did this for both of the maps, is I tried to pick like steps that I felt were the hardest out of all of them. It had to be that floor step. Because before, trying to do it on solo is almost impossible. And I want to get back to that in a minute. Solo, this game is not designed for solo, and that kind of bugs me. But the floor step, you need to do that with somebody else, unless you're one of those, like, you know, you're like smart guy YouTuber who can do all the World War II Easter eggs on solo, and that's great. I'm not that good enough for World War II to do that. I hate to say that. Although, I say that, but I did do Shadow Throne on solo, and I beat it, which is kind of cool. But I've not been able to do that with any of the other ones, but I'm not going to get off track. But, yeah, that fire step, for the first time I did it, it was really intense. What did you think of, like, the first time? What were your first impressions with that fire floor step, Mcnulty?
I hated it right off the bat.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, I felt like
I feel like anyone would, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Kick, what do you think? Like, was there anything about the map you didn't like? Any areas you didn't like, or are you kind of the same as Ian is?
There's like two places I didn't like. I didn't like the fire floor step of how fucking intense it was, and I didn't like that little room where the three mutualers were in, where you had to open that door with the things you get.
The mother, yeah,
yeah,
the pummel, yeah. I know what you're talking about with the heads. Yeah, that's the ritual room basically. Yeah, that ritual secret room is really bad. I
didn't like that ritual room. Yeah.
No, I didn't. Like, we found out that if you didn't... Here's a really cool thing that I found out, and Glitching Queen had found it out like a day or two after I had realized it. If you have on Frontline and you have on Vicious, hand-to-hand, you can take out a Mutualer in one hit. It's awesome. Although sometimes it doesn't work. I think it depends on the round you are. That's like the surefire way to get the spine out of them every time. But moving on. For me, though, I feel like that the two rooms you mentioned were probably the worst parts of it. I didn't have any one particular place. I don't know how I felt about making the Pack-a-Punch like a choke point. I've never really seen that in zombies before. I mean, at least as far as I can think of anyway. Because really, like, if you're not careful, I mean, you could get stuck there very easily. Then again, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's plenty of people that have stayed there and just got high rounds by sitting in that next to that Pack-a-Punch.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, you wouldn't think so, but if you got good enough aim, and you got the right, setup and team, you could just sit there. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the Giant and that catwalk. Obviously not as long. It's longer in the Giant than that, but I wasn't a big fan of the Pack-a-Punch where it was located. I thought it was... Then again, it was purposely done that way, of course, but I felt like it's like if you weren't careful, you could get stuck there, and there's nothing worse than getting knocked down when you just put a gun on a Pack-a-Punch. Thankfully, WW2 Nazi Zombies Pack-a-Punch machine is like, you can stay there for 5 years and your gun won't go away, but it will eventually. But anyway, for me though, let me ask you this: before you played The Darkest Shore, did you guys watch the trailers? The trailer that did it all?
Nope, I did not.
You watch any? Well, McNulty, you really don't do that at all. I guess. Now that I think about it. What about you, Kit?
I have watched the trailers, yes.
So I guess what the question I'm trying to get at is, what were your expectations after the Final Reich? Because I think a lot of the community, and I think McNulty, especially you, because you don't like the Final Reich, were really low and they weren't really excited about it. McNulty, what did you feel about coming into DLC 1? It was like, were you already like kind of down on the mode already, or you were like, oh, maybe they'll it'll ramp it up in DLC 1?
I'll admit it, I was down on it.
Okay.
But, of course, I had that hope that they'd also bring it up and have a better Easter egg and have a better map. And going into Darkest Shore, I hadn't seen anything. I thought, wow, it's just a small map. But no, it's much more complex than that.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
And I really liked that about it.
Yeah. What about you, Kick?
To be honest, I was kind of down on it, but I kept playing it. So I was... I kind of got my hopes high when The Darkest Shore came out, and then hopefully the DLC season kind of got better. I mean, it did.
Oh, it's definitely got better. Yeah, way better.
Yeah, it has. So
Yeah, you know, it's like ever since that's happened and to this day, I mean, there's people that are saying that the mode is dead already. Just bring on Black Ops 4 Zombies, and which is sad because I don't think that's the case. It's not dead. I don't. That's not fair at all. I mean, these are people that just basically rag on the mode, especially the Tortured Path, which that was a big risk. But we're going to talk about that on another podcast. All right, we're moving on. The story itself, the Darkest Shore, you know, immediately throws our characters, you know, on a desolated, you know, Germanic island, Heligoland, aka, you know, the Darkest Shore. You know, our 4 main characters, in the opening cutscene, you know, shortly after, make sure I'm reading this right. Yeah, the main character's dialogue are immediately, you know, immediately killed. That doesn't make any sense, Chris. Yeah, okay, I know what I was trying to say. Okay, sorry. Here's my thing. I thought when that opening cutscene happened, and you had the soldiers that were accompanying your 4 main characters, and then they just died, I thought that would have been one of the coolest and unlikely things you would ever think in the Zombies game, is to have them actually start out with you, have those soldiers, they're on that boat, those boats in front of you, start actually in the game with you. Like, okay, fine, have them die, but like actually have them be, you know, NPCs with you. Let them be weak, fine, but for me, I would have thought that would have been a really cool moment. You know, you don't have your normal 4 or, you know, how many ever players you have at the time playing. I just thought that would have been a really cool moment to have those guys not get killed, you know, really fast, which even makes even less sense. Is like, but what I've been told is apparently the zombies that killed them were the assassins, were the mutilars, and that's why you don't, because you get on the beach, there's nothing there. So the assassin zombies and mutilar zombies make the most sense. What do you guys think about the story for the Darkest Shore? Did you like how, because basically they get thrown right back into it, and they don't feel like they're there. I kind of feel like they're missing some tidbits. I've kind of felt like the cutscenes don't give us enough, but then you have the recordings that do. What do you guys? Let me ask this question easier. What do you guys feel about the cutscenes in the Darkest Shore? Do they kind of give you enough if you weren't one of those people that wanted to go look for the recordings, or do you feel like it's lacking? What do you think, Kick?
The cutscenes, to me, to be honest, they were kind of lacking in story terms because they weren't really explaining anything. Like, because they didn't really explain like how they got there. Like, how did they get to the Darkest Shore after the final ride? Like, they beat the Panzermortar and they're somehow on a boat to the island. Like, I don't understand that.
Yeah, they get thrown into it, and I don't like that either. I didn't really. I mean, if you think about it, there's other zombies. I mean, Treyarch, Black Ops 3 did it. You think about it with. I mean, I guess in Black Ops 3 though, that's like, you know, that's multiple universes. So we automatically know that, okay, they got teleported there somehow or whatever. You know, it's automatically thought like that. This though, it's a realistic environment. And you're thinking, okay, how do they get there? I mean, of course they're not going to go into so much detail, but you thought they would at least give it. What did you think about? What do you think, Mcnulty?
I have to agree with Kickapooh. They just left a lot of blanks.
I feel like the cutscenes are too short. Is that just me, or what do you? I mean,
yeah, they are.
The cutscenes are, they're short. They don't really explain anything, and I feel they're just lacking on it. Like, there's like so much more that they could do with it, but they're just lacking on it.
They're basically just throwing you into the wolves.
Yeah, and I don't mind that. I liked what they did with the beach scene. You know, it's very Moon-esque. You know what I mean? Where they have all those zombies rushing. I thought that was very cool. Although you could, if you're playing on solo, you could glitch that out and literally walk from one side where the gate or the opening door is to the other side where the whistling goes in the waterfall area. And if you keep turning your back on them, they will eventually all disappear and die. And then they will all respawn on round 1. So you'll have like 2 to 3 times the amount of zombies. So you'll get like, if you have a double point, you can get like 5,000 points on round 2. It's really cool.
Damn.
Yeah, I did it all the time when I played solo, because it was totally worth it. All right, let's see. Let's move on to the story. One thing I was worried about, and we obviously we know this now, is I was worried that when this is story-wise, we got to the island and Schraub was already gone. Like, he already left. He was there for like maybe a little bit, and as soon as we did the fire floor step, he escaped. Or he was starting to escape. He already was gone. And I was worried that, oh man, this is going to be another... It's going to be kind of like the Mario, or I'm sorry, like Zelda or the Mario, you know, go to the castle, get the princess out of the castle kind of thing, and the next one and the next and the next. Thank God they didn't do that, because I thought that there's going to be another Exo Zombies kind of thing. I'm glad they did that. If you watch back the Torture Path, we found out that the hallucinations that you see Straubus laughing and walking away, I really hope that's just an hallucination. If he comes back in DLC 4, I'm kind of going to be a little pissed. I must admit. I think he's dead. I don't think he's going to come back, but just throwing that out there. Anyway, that's another podcast for another time. All right, moving on to let me see here. I guess let's do real quick the ending cutscene. The ending cutscene starts, you know, when you defeat the last Meister Mutual boss. Our players are frantically trying to escape the island from the Allied bombing. They call it in before the boss fight. You know, they run, then they jump off the slide of the cliffs onto one of Straub's Zeppelins, and the crew suggests that they're going towards England, but realize they're headed to a different place entirely. What did you guys think at the end of that cutscene? Did you kind of have a gist? Because this is honestly the last DLC map, or the last map, that I can guess where I'm going to go next. Shadow Throne and the Torture Path, I couldn't tell you any. You have no idea where you're going to go next. There's no hints at all. I kind of don't like that, but I did like it here. What did you guys think we were on that blimp? Did you kind of have an idea where you might be going? Did you guess? What do you think, Kick?
I just guessed. I like how it left that predictability.
Yeah. I think it's too. Yeah. See, here's the thing, and this makes me think of Jets and Caleb. He says he doesn't like the cutscenes because they don't give him enough of a story, and that's fine. If he's one of those people that's not going to go out of his way to listen to the recordings. If you listen to the recordings in DLC 1, they explain Red Riding Hood, they explain Berlin. They keep saying Berlin over and over again, and Hitler is asking for help. He needs help. And so that's why I was like, they got to be going to Berlin. They just nowhere else. But then they throw that loophole in at the end, like on top, like, well, maybe going to England. And then it's Olivia. I think it says, no, I don't think we're going there at all. And then it ends. What do you think, Kick? Do you kind of guess where you think we're going to go, or?
To be honest, I thought we were going to England, but then I realized like England just wouldn't make sense. But then I realized that the Nazis need help, so I figured they'd go to Berlin because Hitler need help. Yeah. So that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. All right, moving on to the wonder weapons, and there are two of them. That is the Ripsaw and the Pummel. And I'll start with the Ripsaw first. First of all, I think this is one of the greatest point-generating weapons in CoD Zombies. I got so many goddamn points just from meleeing zombies with this thing. And I know, like, Kick didn't need to do this because this man is, like, bankrolls points like it's nobody's fucking business. But, like,
that's how I do it.
He was weird. I noticed he would rarely use it. Not that he wouldn't get points, of course he would, but you got him so much faster because all you're doing is melee kills, and you got a little extra points from that. But basically, just a little run with the melee. The Ripsaw is a melee weapon at its core. It can be upgraded into a gun that shoots saw blades. This can be pack-a-punched if you find the Enigma codes around the map. When entering it into the artillery gun coordinates, the downside to this is it's, you know, pack-a-punch doesn't make the Ripsaw any more powerful, which I kind of personally felt was maybe a downside, but then again, it is pretty strong. No matter what round I was on, shooting the Ripsaws were pretty powerful no matter what. I mean, the higher you got, you up to like 30. I think the highest me Kick got was like 35. It went through a couple of them, but then it kind of, you started to know it diminished a little bit. But, I don't know. I love the Ripsaw. I thought it was one of the greatest. It's one of my favorite wonder weapons of all time for CoD Zombies. You know what it does? It adds, like I said, it just adds more saws when you pack-a-punch. The best thing, like I said, it gets you points, and also you can rip the spines out, and that's mainly for the Easter eggs, and there was an achievement as well. Mcnulty, what did you think about the Ripsaw? Did you like it? Did you dislike it?
I mean, I have to agree with you. It did generate a lot of points, and it really helped set you up for the Easter egg.
Yeah.
Because, if I'm not mistaken, there was that grace period where you had to set up, where you really had nothing to do.
When you mean
maybe I'm thinking wrong.
When you mean before the fire step, or you mean like before the boss fight?
Yeah.
Oh, before the boss fight. Okay. Did you find yourself use? I know you didn't play it too much as me and Kick did. But when you did play it, did you find yourself using it a lot every time, or did you just kind of go to other weapons? Because Kick really didn't use it that much. It seemed like when I played with him, at least not at first anyway.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I totally forgot I had it whenever I got it. I totally forgot to build it.
Right.
Because usually I kind of relied on you guys.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
No, I understand.
Kind of kick it into motion.
Yeah, it's all good. We understand.
But I have to say that the upgrade for it was really underwhelming.
Yeah.
Like shooting the blades.
Yeah.
Like that Baker's Dozen Massacre achievement, I still haven't got that. That is ridiculously hard to get unless you have insta-kill.
I was just going to say that, like, I have an insta-kill, and literally what you do is just, the best place to do it, I did it, is in the sub-pens. And you walk where they have the railings at, that middle square section where the zombies spawn out of. If you run up against the railing and you turn around, they're going to be lined up. Now, granted, you have to have a bunch of them, obviously 10 or whatever it is. Pop the insta-kill and just shoot it, line up with that railing, and you get it. That's how I got it. And I've seen other people do the same thing. But before that, you're right. It was annoying as shit, and that's one of the ones I got later on. Anyway, what did you think? Did you find yourself really using it? I saw, you and me played them mostly together, but at first I noticed you didn't really use it as much. Did you start to use it later on, or you just wasn't really your thing?
Yeah, like you mentioned before, I didn't really use it when we first started playing the Darkest Shore, but then when we kept playing it, like, day by day, I was starting to use it more, because I was like, I really love this wonder weapon. I really love that every time you melee, you can generate a bunch of points, you can pretty much, you just generate a bunch of points, like... Yeah, like I said, I didn't really use it as much, but now I kind of have. I really love the Wonder Weapon.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that there was an Easter egg along with Pack-a-Punching it. I think that's great. That's cool that you could do that. But I kind of also feel like the point of a Pack-a-Punch is to upgrade the gun to make it stronger, not to give me more blades. I don't like that. I thought that was really kind of dumb. You're basically just defeating the purpose of the Pack-a-Punch, in my opinion. But... let's see. All right. The second wonder weapon is the pummel. Now, people don't really think of it. You can think of it as a wonder weapon. I don't know why you wouldn't think of it as a wonder weapon, because number one, it's hard to get if you don't know the Easter egg, because you have to do the Easter egg to get it. It's the second acquired, piece to build the sword, Barbarossa's sword. It can only, like I said, be done by completing the Easter egg. Let's see. Yes, it's hidden in that chamber room. Now, you go in to see Nerthus. She's standing there, mother. She's got her hand out, and it's got that cow skull or bull skull over it. Well, underneath of that is the pummel, which is like, in my mind, it's like all this explosions, everything that's going on. Like, in there, like, while you're getting kills, shouldn't that skull just pop off her hand and you should be able to grab it? I know I'm being, like, ridiculous, but, in technical terms, it should have, like, gotten it a long time ago. But anyway. It's the, this is the reason, for doing all three of those zombie sacrifices, though. You have to sacrifice the Whistling, a Pest, and the Mcnulty. You have to get the spine, and eventually we get the head from that. I really liked it. This is where I started to appreciate the map size for what it was. Because those three steps were not easy at first. Especially the Whistling one. I don't know if you guys remember in the beginning when we first did it, but that Whistling step, because we didn't know you could shoot the Whistling and have him walk towards you, you had to get him to touch the right, the right perks. And if you got the wrong one, then you had to wait for him to die, and you had to do it all over again, and that was really annoying. But we'll get into that here in just a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, you had to get the Whistling, the Pest, the Mcnulty, and to top it off, you needed the Monk's Head to complete the rituals. Each of them, there's 4, like fish hooks almost, giant fish hooks, and you put the heads on there. That's how you get the pummel. The pummel is, as a weapon, it's basically a powerful grenade. I don't know, most people don't think about this. It's a dual explosion grenade, so it explodes at 2 different times. There's the achievement. Oh my god. You have to remember. I can't remember the achievement now. Wasn't it like you had to get like how many kills? Go
150, I thought.
You got to get 200. You got to get 250.
God,
I remember.
I hated doing that. Me and Kick did it with me. I never want to do another one of those like that again. The one, at least, see the one with what was another one? It was
the sword.
Yeah, but the sword wasn't as bad though. Like that one was pretty doable. That one was fine. Although we're still trying to do the challenge one for that one in the the museum. But we're gonna get that when we cover the Shadow Throne map. But I didn't mind it. I thought it was fine. I mean, it's cool. It's strong. Even on the high, like we got to like round 30, I'm still doing the 250 kills. It still was pretty powerful. But the danger part is like you had to run back through it in order to like get the kills. But I guess we'll start with Kickapooh. What did you think about the pummel? Did you like it? Did you find yourself using it, or would you rather have just gone and kept using jacks?
To be honest, I'm kind of mixed about this. I like jacks more than the pummel, which is surprising because I didn't really use the pummel that much. I didn't find it very useful because like when it's like up in the higher rounds, it's not very useful anymore. So I just kept using jacks.
Yeah, we didn't. I mean, now for us high rounds, we got a 35. We never pushed it like we did the Shadow Throne. But I want to know what it's like on 50 or something like that. Is it really worth doing? Because when we got it on, when was it? Oh my goodness. On now this is examples of the Torture Path. We'll talk about this when we do that podcast. But the Torture Path, we used the pummel. I mean, that mode is designed to be hard, and I felt like the thing was, it really wasn't that strong. What about you, Mcnulty? Did you find it, what do you think about the pummel? Did you like it, or did you like, you know, I'd rather just stay with jacks, this is kind of a waste?
I'll be honest, I only played the Darkest Shore to do the Easter egg with you guys.
Yeah, no, I know.
I didn't really play for the leisure of it.
Yeah. No, that's true.
So I'd find myself using it during the Easter egg, but even then, in the heat of the moment, I wouldn't even remember to use it. I wouldn't even think about it. I'd always find myself getting reminded by you guys. Yeah. Like, don't forget to use the pummel.
Yeah.
Honestly, though,
you needed it for
it reminds me a lot of the heart from Challenge Shuffle.
Oh, the racking stuff, yeah.
What did it do? I don't remember the heart. I mean, I remember the heart, but I don't remember actually being able to use it.
The heart was, it was one of your, it was
your tactical slot.
You're right.
Yeah,
right.
They go after the heart, yeah, they'd be attracted to it.
Huh.
Like, you like squeeze it, and they'd stop in place and then explode. It kind of reminded me of that.
Why am I surprised?
Like the way it killed
I don't know why. Maybe I never used it. I mean, I did obviously I beat it, but I didn't. Huh, interesting. I don't know. Yeah, well, see, the pummel you need it for the Easter egg. You need to get it, and then you need to use it for the radio to start the actual and activate the actual boss fight. I found out, though, I don't know what you guys thought, but we used it in the boss fight, and then we also used jacks. It was like 2 of us had the pummel, 2 of us had jacks. Did you think it really helped us with the boss fight at all, or did you think it was really, it wouldn't have mattered if we didn't have it either way? I guess Mcnulty can go first.
Yeah, I think it really helps balance it out.
Right. Yeah.
And one half can distract the zombies, one half can
do
its own thing. Shoot the mutilers, throw the pummel at the mutiler, shoot them again.
Yeah, that's what I was going to think. What about you, Kid?
Yeah, like Mcnulty was saying, it kind of balanced it out. Like when you threw it at the zombies and the mutiler, it killed them or it stunned them, and then you could shoot them, and then yeah, or you could have jacks and then it'll distract them from there. So both of them were pretty balanced. I'll definitely say that.
You know, yeah, I liked it. It was fine. I mean, I'd rather use jacks. Now, if I wasn't an achievement hunter, I wouldn't even bother, you know, going to get that. But, you know, that's what it is. Real quick, though, before we start on the last part, the Easter egg, the main Easter egg, and then we're going to get the good and bad. What did you guys think about the Pack-a-Punch getting the tube? Do you think that was kind of a tedious thing? Did you guys like that? I guess, Kick me, go ahead.
The Pack-a-Punch, I guess it wasn't really that bad, but it could be annoying if you didn't know where, like, which way to go, like the double tap or to the sub pins or the beach. Like, it was probably annoying if you didn't know which way you were going, so it was probably 50-50 for me.
I just remember it's the only time I've ever learned German in my lifetime and what those words meant, like for the beach and for the pen, like, because those words are on when you switch the tracks over, but
You'd think you learned the perk names, but no.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Apparently not. But
so yeah, it's a little bit tedious if you don't know where you're going. But
it isn't that bad.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean the same spot every time.
Pissed me off.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I would have liked though, stuff like that. And I know they don't want to make it too ridiculous, but I would have personally, and this can sound a little maybe too much for some. Then again, the map isn't that big. If you move the tubes and have them in a different place every time, they don't always need to be on the Minecraft part, on the tracks. Or, different spot. I don't know. That's just me. I mean, because it's funny, because you look at the tubes and you pick them up, they look kind of small, but then when you put them in there, this is giant fucking canister. It's like, wait a minute, this is not what I picked up at all. This is fucking ridiculous. This doesn't make any sense. But, Anyway, all right. Moving on to the last part. The main Easter egg quest itself, what, you know, most zombie players are here for. Here's the thing about this is, Mcnulty's, you are one of those, you're a zombies player that you play zombies for Easter eggs. If there were no Easter eggs, you would not play zombies probably, right?
Correct.
Okay. I'm of the impression, because I started with World of War, and I loved the survival. That was awesome. Me and Onos also did that for years until we started actually getting the Easter eggs. Excuse me. This map feels like it is meant just for an Easter egg, and high rounds are obviously possible. You can do it in the beach or in the sub-pens. It's bad. I personally enjoyed it, especially the first attempting it. It was a challenge at times, a real, like, serious challenge. And I think that's like for most Easter eggs. Some of them are easier. Like Shadow Throne was way easier, but that's probably because I studied it so much. But the Fire Force step, like we mentioned earlier, in my opinion, is probably the most annoying zombies Easter egg steps ever. Like honestly, like I can't think of another Easter egg step that maybe I probably can't. I'm not thinking off the top of my head right at the moment. Right now it's just not coming to me. But for me, that was probably the most annoying one. That is until you realize you can stand on the steps, and you can use one of the new mods in the map, Sustain Zone, which helped a lot. I need to say something here real quick, and this is kind of another reason why World War II Zombies is getting Nazi Zombies is getting flack. Have you noticed that we haven't had any new mods since DLC 1? Am I the only one that has noticed that shit? I don't. That's kind of weak. I know.
Honestly, I'd never pay attention to that type of stuff.
Yeah, they don't have. There's no new mods at all.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Kid?
I have noticed that there are a lack of mods because since DLC 1, they haven't done it any further.
Yeah, I mean, I like the size of the mods. There's a fair amount, but I just feel like it's something that IW did it, Treyarch did it. Every map you had a couple here and there. I'm not saying give me a smorgasbord, but you give me something different. Yes, there was a lot of mods to choose from. But I just wanted to mention that it's not that much. What were your first impressions when you first started Easter egg? I know we talked about the fire step, and you had to build the ripsaw first. Was it kind of intimidating? Wasn't that bad? What do you think, Kick? Your first impressions of the Easter egg?
My first impressions were I wasn't really sure of exactly what we were doing until we exactly learned it. But if I had to say so, I say it was a little bit tedious and intimidating. Yeah.
Mcnulty, what about you? Because you and Caleb, you and Jets. I think actually Jets played it less than you did, which is not saying much, but what were your first impressions? What do you think first? When you first played it, was it kind of okay? This is not Final Reich at all. This is complete. Honestly, for me anyway, I felt like wow, this is good. This is this is more of a challenge.
It was quite different. Like going in, I thought, man, this is gonna be such an intricate process.
Right.
But no, it was actually quite simple. And I feel like I could actually do that solo if I was actually good enough.
Yeah, I mean, I'm funny you say that because Kick he's gotten to the boss fight on solo, and I have gotten to it, and I died so fast it was ridiculous. But I only did that one time. I think Kick he did that several times. I think how many times did you get to the boss fight, Kick, on by yourself?
Twice.
Okay. It's not easy. Like see, that's the thing, and I need to say this. We got about 10 minutes here, and I'm going to switch up. This is my big pet peeve and they can do it, but I don't know why they don't want to do it. They can rebalance these maps so where solo players can play by themselves, and it won't be ridiculous because every map, including the Final Reich, is very hard on solo. Not everybody can be like Smart Guy, who nothing against him. He's a great guy. And he's a really good zombies player, obviously. I mean, because doing any of them, even the Treyarch ones. I mean, some of those were they were rebalanced. Like doing Gorod Krovian solo, I couldn't even imagine that. That was ridiculous on solo. I've tried it and I didn't get very.
Oh, believe me, it was a challenge.
Yeah,
I've done it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I beat that shit too. Yeah, it was pretty challenging.
The thing on that one was solo. Real quick, not trying to get off topic, was the leading the android, whatever that big. The thing was probably the hardest part to do on solo, in my opinion. But
oh my God, yeah.
Oh yes.
And a mangler.
Yeah. Okay. here's my thing. The reason I think World War II Nazi Zombies Easter eggs are so good in my mind is because every map's main Easter eggs, they flow in with the storyline so well. Everything you're doing makes sense. Everything has a purpose, and it all fits together. The thing in IW that would drive me up the fucking wall is shit didn't make sense. It didn't click. It didn't come together. It's like, why am I doing some of the steps I'm doing? It's just fucking stupid. It just...
You shouldn't have to ask yourself that question when you're doing Easter eggs.
I seriously couldn't understand it sometimes. It didn't make any goddamn sense.
Over the village.
For like, the only one that made a little bit of sense is like Beast from Beyond, not the boss fight. I could understand, okay, I need to get these codes, these symbols, and put it in there. I can get the head out. The head, I put it in the Pack-a-Punch, and I can go to the boss fight. That's fine. That makes sense. It fits with it. No problem. Some of the other Easter eggs just didn't make any goddamn sense, and I'm not going to go into IW because that's not what this podcast is about. But that's why I really loved them. You know, it starts off, you know, turning on the power, the 2 power switches with opposite ends of the maps. Now, you have to find the parts of the ripsaw. Once you find the ripsaw, you have to rip a spine out of the zombie, which, you know, you torn is to, you know, help power the ripsaw craft table, if you will. Then your characters start killing up to 20 zombies, taking their guys craft. That area, by the way, is like really tiny. I mean, I've gotten knocked down maybe like once or twice, I think, but like that's with any area of any part of that map actually that you're getting souls on is like butthole fucking tight. Like you're not kidding. Like it's so hard. You need to be on your game with that. Was there one part of the Easter egg that you enjoyed more than the other, or what about you, Kick? What do you?
This is a tricky one. If I had to guess, I'd probably say doing the spines.
Yeah.
I mean, I like doing the spines a lot.
You mean doing the rituals? You mean the ritual steps, or you mean just because there's a couple things you got to rip the spines out?
Okay, yeah, you're right. I like collecting the spines and then going to the ritual room, killing the zombies, and putting their heads on the hook.
Yeah, the ritual. Those are the ritual steps. Yeah. Is there anything? Was there an annoying part like you like the least besides, or was that the fire floor trap?
Just a fire floor trap, really.
What about you, Mcnulty? What's your favorite part of the Easter, if you had one?
Shooting out the Stukas.
Yeah,
that was so fun. Even though they were ridiculously strong, they could knock you down in one foul swoop.
They fucking knock you down so quick.
I mean, yeah, they did. But if you think about it, though, in a realistic sense, that would happen in real life. Most likely, you'd probably be torn to shreds if you got shot by one of those.
Oh yeah.
But so yeah, it makes sense if you think about it. But yeah, it would diminish your health. Like you had to be careful. Like if you didn't have having stamina in that part kind of helped, but if you didn't, you know, it's okay. But it's like you had to like kind of duck and cover for it. But yeah, I completely forgot about the Stukas. That's like a really good part. I love the Stukas part. That's different because that's something you've never done in the Easter egg before in zombies. You never shot.
The only thing I don't like about it is how, I mean, I guess it's realistic, but I don't like how the zombies can hit you while you're on the. Or diminish the health of the...
Yeah, I was going to say, they don't hit you personally, but yeah, they do hit the... Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I don't mind that because I don't think you should be invulnerable, you know, invulnerable sitting there, you know, like nothing can touch you. That doesn't make any sense.
It's just unrealistic.
It is, like, so something has to hit you. I mean, I'd rather it be the gun than me, personally, but I see where you're coming from, but...
Yeah, here's another thing, though. Like what Mcnulty was saying, like, they're hitting the AA gun, and, like, when you actually notice, when you actually shoot, when you actually aim the AA gun on the zombies, they're not dying, like, instantly. I'm like, what the fuck? They're not dying. Like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I never understood that. Like, I would be doing that. I'm like, okay, excuse me, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Why are you not dying? It's an AA gun.
It seemed impossible to aim at him.
It was, but I'd hit you
really
in the head, and you wouldn't die. It's like, this is an AA gun designed to take down planes, and I can't even take down a fucking zombie. It doesn't make sense. I didn't understand that. Alright, let's see, where are we going into that? Alright, yeah. Had to... The hidden chamber part I thought was kind of neat. I thought that was kind of cool. Again, no, I kind of, like, you know, I wish the map was a little bit bigger in some senses for that. But I remember we had trouble with it at first, trying to get in there, because if you're not looking at it, you fall out. What did you guys? Did you mind the mine carts? Did you really? Would you? I mean, it wouldn't have been a big deal if it wasn't in there. Or I mean, what did you think about that part?
it was pretty cool, but the only part I hated was accidentally buying the PPSH. Like, really?
I've never done that, actually. I think I might have done it once, maybe, but I don't think I've done that other than that. I don't know.
Like, I'd be all set up with my bacon and eggs and my SVT, and then I'd accidentally trade it while I was reloading. Like, really? Anyone would get pissed at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Kick? Did you mind that, or the secret room? I mean, because that's not an area you could stay in very long either, because they started spawning in like crazy down in the ritual room.
Yeah, I did find the ritual room pretty interesting because, like, when you open the chamber door, you see the three brothers praying to Nerthus. I found that very interesting.
Yeah.
And the only thing I didn't like about it is, like, they just fucking come out of the walls, come out of the ground, and then you're going to get, like, overwhelmed so quickly, then you had to get out of there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that was pretty much about it. I just like the fact that they were praying, and there were three of them, and that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, no, I do. I like the same thing. All right, we're going to take a break here real quick. When we come right back, we're going to give our final review of the Dark Shore. I think we're going to jump into the Shadowed Throne.
The Generation Gaming Twitch channel. Live every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 4 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Generation Gaming channel is the place for all gamers. The home where all gamers' voices are heard on high. Join host Jay Lewis and the rest of the Generation crew, the Zombies connoisseur himself, Kickapooh, Generation Gaming's video producer, Onosas, and the man of 1,000 hugs, aka Mcnulty's. This is Generation Gaming, the video game news outlet made for the gamers, by the gamers. Join the revolution up with the gamers' voice first.
Berlin, Straub has come home. Those were Russian forces moving in. Looks like they're burning the city to the ground.
Yeah? Well, the Ruskies aren't ready for what's coming. Nobody is. We need to get off this ship in one.
Attention! The hatches are opening! Get down here, now!
A bullet down to Berlin. You've got another thing.
Get down!
All right, welcome back. We are back here. We are still on the Darkest Shore, and we're going to wrap it up here, and then we're going to move on to the Shadowed Throne map. That is DLC 2. But before we end it, I have to mention one of the most important bits, and one of the most important, well, I guess you could say characters, AI, NPC, whatever you want to call it, in the Darkest Shore. Probably one of the main, most prevalent things, especially in the trailer, the introduction to it, and that is the Mutler zombies. And in the sense of it, I'm going to talk about the Mutlers first, and then talk about the boss fight, the Meister Mutlers, which is probably, I think, now that I think about it, one of the coolest boss fights I've ever done, even though it was really difficult. First off, here is... let me see, where is it at? This is what, okay, so, real quick, this is a description. This is one of the recordings you found. There are 3 recordings in total that you got in the Darkest Shore map. This is recording, Red Riding Hood recording number 25, and I quote, Dr. Straub has lost a number of his Mutlers. The undead soldiers he created as assassins, they are the most monstrous of Straub's rotten children. The most intelligent, end quote. That kind of is if you read between the lines, that is probably the best description you could get of a Mutler without being, like, seriously detailed, because it's kind of what they are. Mutlers have, 4 arms, these extremely long tongues, And unlike anything I think I've ever seen in zombies, there's nothing you can relate that to. And that's why I think it makes this map really good, albeit obviously it has its little problems here and there.
Right.
The fact that they try to flank you is really, really cool, but really fucking terrifying and annoying at the same time. I mean, normally they will spawn on a fall ground except for the first fall ground. They won't do that. I know Kick and I, when we first played it, were running, maybe it's a glitch or maybe it's something wrong. No, the game is designed specifically, you get a fall ground in the beginning, but you don't get a mutiler with the first one. That's always like that, no matter what.
The fog just made it so much worse.
Yeah, I know, and that's something we haven't talked about either, but I wanted to save it for the mutiler because they're one and the same. They're both the same. I mean, you got mutilers randomly later on, like a little bit, but they're all relatable in the fog because, like, you can go inside of a sub pen or inside where the fog isn't, and you can still get mutilers, but they're relatable. The fog and the mutilers are, you know, one and the same.
I mean, at least they give you a warning that they're coming with the fog.
Yeah. But I guess what I'm thinking is, like, when you're inside of the sub pen, there is no warning. You see them, and then it's like you got to react. But yeah, I guess you're right about the fog though being a warning.
I mean, when you think about it, though, like, when the fog does come in, you're not going to know when they're going to come, because, like, they might not even come at all. Like, well, I mean, you don't know.
They all come. They come every fog round except for the very first time you get the fog round, which is like round 4. They never don't. It's the only time that doesn't happen is if you're doing. I noticed it happened like when you did the sacrifice steps or the spines, and you had to do. Either the mutiler sacrifice or one of the others. Is sometimes you get a mutiler. If you jump out, you sometimes will have fog and you won't get one. But that's like it's kind of. But any other time, you're supposed to get them every single fog round.
Really, it's just a matter of where they're coming from because you really don't see them till the last second.
Yeah, you really don't, and that's what I think the terrifying thing about it is. I think for me, I thought the really cool thing is the first time I played this map. Which is actually all of us together played at the same time the first time, is when you go up to on the right side of the map after you've opened up the first 2 doors, there's the armor station right there, and then to the right is the airfield. You're looking off the cliffs, or sort of, and then you walk up right past the STG wall by. You can either go left up into where the second power switch is, the other bunker basically, the artillery bunker I guess you could call it. But right next to the STG wall by, you will see like a gutter or drain on the ground with a lot of blood. And then you'll see the blood, if you look at it, it's strange. It's usually gravity takes hold and it goes down. But you can see the blood has gone upwards into this hole, into the back. And it's like, in the shape of the hole is weird. It's like, normal zombies don't do that. Like, and that's the first time before you even see one. So that's like, they did a really good job of making you, like, building this up. It's like, because in the trailer you didn't even see, you saw like a face and you saw his feet when he was going up like the wall in the trailer. I guess my question, a couple questions I do have for you guys is, would you rather deal with a room full of whistlings or a room full of mutilers? I guess.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead first, Mcnulty.
I mean,
that's a hard
just
question.
Be hell in a handbasket for both. But if it came down to, I guess it would be mutilers.
Yeah. You know what?
Whistlings.
Real quick before you answer, Kick. I'm sorry, I don't want to forget. When the Tortured Path came out, and I kept hearing about you get like all these bombers in the same round or Geckox, whatever. You didn't get that with any mutilers or with any whistlings. Probably because a 32 whistlings would have been ridiculous. I could just see that now. Like they probably tried it though. They had to have tried it in the studio. But anyway, what about you, Kick? Would you have a room full of whistlings or mutilers?
Yeah, like Ian said, it's definitely a hell in the handbasket, but if I had to come down to it, I'd probably say mutilers, because whistlings are really fucking annoying. They're really annoying.
The funny thing is with mutilers is mutilers themselves made me feel more apathetic towards Nazi zombies.
Yeah.
Like the boss fight and whatnot, because it was so damn hard.
Yeah. It was.
You couldn't crack it.
You know, though, yeah, it was. We finally did. But I would pick whistlings only because the way a Mutler attacks you is so hard and so fierce, and they take your health away so fast, even with armor. I would rather have a Whistling hit me one time, shoot him, have him run past me. I can because it's now I've gotten to the point where I got it down pat. I can get out of his way. I think I'd rather deal with the Whistlings, because a room full of, I mean, think about it. There's times we struggled on the and I know this is going to DLC 3 ahead a little bit, but where we struggled on the Mutler round in the Tortured Path, and that's only 3 of them. Like, so, I mean, that's just me there. I guess the other thing I wanted to know is I think it is. Go ahead.
It's a good point, but we also struggle with Whistlings, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Think about it.
You know, he's got a point. Like, Whistlings aren't that bad. They're easier to kill than Mutilers, and Whistlings don't take your health down as quick as the Mutilers do.
I guess
they fucking take your health down.
They just be the lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah, no, it is the lesser 2 evils. Because in the beginning, there's been an update since then. But when you got the final rank in the Darkest Shore, and including the Shadow Throne, Whistlings spawned in way more. The Tortured Path, and now if you go back and play the other maps, Whistlings are less prevalent. They literally put an update in, and it read they dumbed down the number of Whistlings that will spawn in. Because there would be sometimes if you'll see some people's videos, they'll be on round 60 and they'll have like 12 in a row, like 12 fucking Whistlings on one map. Like, it was ridiculous. And it got a little bit crazy.
Christ.
Yeah, I know. You have to really get up there to get them, though. You wouldn't get that many. I mean, well, there's been times where we've had like 6 or 7, though, ourselves. I mean, I know playing with Kick where you get that. And we would just leave. And that's because we were like trying to high round and we would leave them alone. Because the Whistlings in every other mode, and every other map except the Tortured Path, would not end the round. So we were like, whatever. And then we realized maybe we should have killed these guys off sooner than later, because when they stack up, it gets a little bit cramped, because their arm reach is really ridiculous. But that's a whole nother thing. Okay, all right. Before we end for the Mutular bit, one last thing on Mutilers. There is some ways to counter them really well. For me personally, I found this works every time until you get to the 20s. The M1A1, the SVT, and the Carabin, all Pack-a-Punch can take them down really quickly in a matter of seconds. The Carabin is probably the latter of the two. But the SVT and the M1A1 Pack-a-Punch destroys Mutilers in the beginning. I mean, I'm talking about like 5 seconds. It's really crazy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we didn't know that for the longest time, but... I don't think
we'll give it a try one day.
Yeah,
me and John have done that, but you haven't.
Yeah, it's not that bad. Like when you do it though, it's not that bad. What I want to do, we're going to do this eventually. Once we beat DLC 4, what I want to do is before DLC 4 comes out, I want to run back and actually play all the Easter eggs all over again before that comes out. Like maybe a day or two before it comes out for us on Xbox One. But anyway, all right. Before we give our scores here. Here's my one thing, and I wanted to put this in there. Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies, in my opinion, their biggest problem, for me anyway, in my opinion, besides maybe having a lacking on content sometimes, and they've gotten better about that, is playing on solo is impeccably hard. I don't care what you're playing, even the final rank, it is very hard to beat these Easter eggs. I've only beaten the Shadow Throne on solo, and that was a challenge in itself. And now I used all my self-revives, including the quick revives, to do that. But and that step you have to do, where the statue step on solo, is a pain in the ass. Like, it really is, because you like literally shooting it a couple times. I'm turning it once, like, and then running, turning it once, shooting and running. Like, but anyway, because Cameron Dayton said it himself, the game was developed to be cooperative. Like, you can play it on solo, but it's going to be really, really hard, because Treyarch Zombies in Black Ops 3 was designed for both, whatever you did, except like Gorod had some issues with that. But I don't know. I know Kick and I have done it. Have you ever tried to play any of these Easter eggs on solo, Mcnulty's?
No, and I think that's why, that's what threw me off a bit when World War II Zombies came out, because I myself, as you know, am a solo player most of the time.
Yeah.
If I'm not playing with you guys,
that is
of
true,
course.
Yeah.
Like, I've done all the Black Ops 3 Easter eggs by myself, Black Ops 2, all the ones I could have.
Yeah.
I've done, Origins. And I think it just threw me off. And I have not tried any solo Easter eggs on World War II Zombies.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's partly because, when you played it, I know you aren't, and I mean, just no problem with this, but you're not into World War II Nazi Zombies as, they say, Kick and I are, and that's okay. That's obviously your choice. It's your right.
It's your opinion. Yeah, it's sorry.
It's no problem with that. I mean, I think probably the Shadow Throne you played more than anything else. At least from what I saw, that was probably the best one so far. Anyway, all right, now let's move on to the Darkest Shore. Our scores. I guess I'll go first. For me, I gave it a 7 out of 10, purely because the Easter egg was very fun. I still don't like the map size. I love the Mutilers, the boss fight. We'll get that here in a second, actually. Real quick, actually, the boss fight. Just saying, this still to this day is probably the hardest boss fight I've ever done. I can't think of any other boss fight. Even in Black Ops 3, I'm trying to think of a boss fight that was probably harder than that Mutiler boss fight. Because you're dealing with 3 perked up Mutilers, essentially. One of them's got Shell Shock, the other one's got, what is it? Oh, God, I can't remember. They got the blades that shoot out, the Ripsaw blades. The other one's got like a melee damage on them. Anyway, beating that Easter egg felt so good. Like, cause it's so hard. But,
oh, yeah. It was terrible, honestly.
Were you going to say something, Kick?
No, I didn't say anything at all.
But anyway, for me, I give it a 7 out of 10. With that, I loved the minecart system. I like that. It's one of those things, though, like if they didn't put it in there and it was just like a cave you could walk through, I think it would have been fine as well, honestly.
Right.
But I think it just give that little enhancement. Yes, for me that was my score. I guess Chip, what did you give your score?
I gave it a 7 out of 10 because I love the boss fight. It's one of the best boss fights I've ever done. The map size is okay to me, and I fucking love the Mutilers. They're like one of the most awesome zombies I've ever seen.
Right.
Like the design, their AI, everything, the way because like you said, they don't come at you like any other zombie would. They try to hide and then they come back at you.
Yeah.
Like that's what I love about them. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mcnulty, and you, what's your score?
I gave it a 6 out of 10. Like I said before, the map really did it in for me. I really liked it. It was really perfect in my perspective. But when it came to the boss fight, the Easter egg steps weren't too bad, but when it came to the boss fight, oh my god.
Yeah.
I just didn't care anymore about it. I just wanted to get it done and over with, done with that map.
Yeah, it's extremely difficult. And I think it was you're going to different areas too, which I didn't mind that actually. I didn't mind the boss fight because it was a very big challenge, and I appreciate them doing that because it is that boss fight is the complete opposite of the Panzer Mortar boss fight in the Final Reich. It is no joke. In the Panzer Mortar, you could take your goddamn time with that thing, and it's so simple, it's so easy. But
I will give it credit though. It really made us experiment with different weapons that we usually wouldn't even think to.
Yeah,
like the
true.
SVT.
Yeah.
$750, it's going to be a shit weapon. No, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
Against zombies. M1 Garand.
Yeah.
I mean,
go ahead.
The fucking M1 Garand and the SVT just shit on those Mutilers.
I forgot about the M1 Garand. Yeah, M1 Garand is also another good gun. Yeah, I see. That's the other thing I noticed about like you in World War II Nazi zombies. Compared to any other one, the wall guns actually don't suck, which is kind of crazy because usually when you think about a wall gun, it's like, okay, it's going to be okay, but the real great guns are inside that mystery box. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case this time. Yes, there are great guns in that box, don't get me wrong, but I think it wasn't as big and prevalent. Anyway.
The ironic thing is, I found myself buying wall weapons more in World War II than using the box at all.
Yeah,
same here.
And that's not a bad thing either. I don't think it is. Okay. All right, moving on to our second map here for part 2 of Generation Gamers review of Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies, and that is DLC 2, The Shadowed Throne. Now, where we left off story-wise is our characters at the end of the boss fight on the Darkest Shore. They called in the airstrike on Heligoland, on the bunker, on the site, and they're jumping off the cliff, and they jump onto one of Straub's Zeppelins, and you think you're going towards England, but no, it's different. It's kind of a swerve, and they're going off to another place. They don't say, of course, but if you, like I said, you listen to recordings, you can you're going to Berlin. I'd just be shocked. I was going to be surprised if it was anywhere else. But nonetheless, yes, that's where we arrive. You're arriving in Berlin. You can see history. This is why I also love Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies, is because of the way they're rewriting history. It's very Man in the High Castle. If you don't know what that is, first of all, it's a book, and it's also a TV show on Amazon Prime right now. But it's basically the Nazis and the Japanese won World War II, and they split America in half. That's not what this is, but the same prevalence prevails. If you're rewriting history, and you're basically... what am I trying to say? You're basically the Axis powers win, and that's kind of what is. It's not there yet, but during World War II, in the Battle of Berlin, the Russians came in and they just pretty much devastated. I mean, the Germans were just defeated this time. The young men and young guys, kids, and old men basically fighting, which was nothing. But basically, but this time though, you see the cutscene start and the Russians are actually retreating because the zombies have been unleashed now by Straub, and they're everywhere in Berlin. And then after Berlin, that's when it gets to the torture path, where it's just mass. They're everywhere now. Basically, the map description, the mission briefing goes as follows, and I quote, "Berlin is burning and the power of the final rank has been laid bare." But that's pretty much the shortest explanation, but pretty much is there. This is, obviously, map size is bigger than, we'll talk about the map first. The map size is bigger than the Darkest Shore, smaller than the final rank. It's like medium, large size, you know. The zombie pods those are the pods that you came down on. And I want to say this too, because people are looking at the cutscene in the beginning and like, how did you not die? How do our characters not die from that? Well, that's what our characters have on our sides, is that red glowing stick, whatever it is, that's our Geistkraft stick, if you will. And that protects the players from being hurt. They can't be shot at or anything like that, but they can be ripped apart. A lot of the zombies, that's all they can do. So, but stuff like this, they fall from that height, it won't hurt them. Anyway, but those pods are all over the map, and they actually open up to the other areas of the map. And for me, I got knocked down a bunch of times. Not a bunch of times, but a lot of the times when I would get knocked down, it would be in that pod, because it is a choke point, and they're obviously put there on purpose, because that's the only way you can actually get to the other parts of the map if you think about it.
Right.
Yeah. Let's see. There's 3 main areas to train. You had the plaza, where the plane is knocked down at. You had the courtyard, which you have to open up, a la the Easter egg. And then Main Street were the 3 main areas to run, which I love the sides. I love the detail of this map. I love you could tell the difference between the final rank, the Darkest Shore, and the Shadow Throne. It is such a big difference, and in a good way. Like, the attention to detail is so great. And that is because, one, they had more staff now, people to work. The people that worked on the campaign, the developers, are now working on zombies. And you could tell there's more side Easter eggs, the detail, the map size is bigger. There's just more content in general, and it was a really good map. For me, it's my favorite map so far.
Oh yeah, mine too.
Anyway,
Yeah.
what do you guys think what did you guys think about the map size? Did you like it? Did you like those? Have a problem with those pods? Did you ever get choked off in those pods at all?
In the pods, I thought I would, but honestly, no.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what it was? I think for me, I got there because I would use it as like a stopping point where I turn around and shoot, and that was a mistake because then they would come from behind me sometimes. This is also another map. Has 3 traps in it. The plane propeller, the electricity pit on Main Street, and then the electricity box on the cabaret stage. Let's see. There are 4 main buildings, 3 open, train areas, and then I guess you can add. There's another train area, really, and that's the Zeppelin. That's the boss fight area. You could go up there if you wanted to. I've seen people do it, and they've done it before, but I wouldn't.
Yeah, but you really have to keep your eyes peeled, you know.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend
the catwalk, I mean.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use that as a train area.
No, that'd be the last place I train.
Yeah, but the thing about that is, the thing about that is when you're trying to do, if you want to do any of the challenges, some of them you had to kill treasure zombies. Well, the only place the treasure zombies spawned were in the Zeppelin. I didn't really like that, honestly. I thought that was kind of like a little BS, but you know, it wasn't a big deal because I got so good at the Easter egg, I could get there relatively, not easy, but without any issue or fuss. But I still didn't really like that.
The reason I feel that way is because I could see how hectic it can get by doing the boss fight so many times.
Yeah.
Like how we had to use shell shock all the time just to save our asses. Mm-hmm. That's really why I would not do that.
Well, here's the thing, though. You can actually go in the Zeppelin and not start the boss fight. The way the boss fight starts is when Straub is killed. Once he is killed, then the Strahljäger will be spawned in. Other than that, you can stay up there and wait for one to spawn in, wait for a treasure zombie to spawn in if you want to. And Straub will just be chilling inside his little cornered off area he is behind those windows.
Just kind of taunting you and everything.
Pretty much, yeah. Whatever he's doing, yeah, exactly.
Taunting you. Now, yeah, he didn't think he was going to kill us, but we killed him in the last minute.
And tables have turned.
Yeah. It's got a it's probably the largest spawn room for sure. Like, it's way bigger than I expected for a spawn room. I felt it was really, like, it's kind of odd, I don't know. And I mean, then again, if you think about it, like, I mean, Nocturne and Totem, that's the first zombie map. That's pretty big, but that wasn't a big map anyway. Most spawn maps aren't too big, but as far as I remember, that's probably the biggest one. But let's see. Then again, I mean, you got the whole beach in the Darkest Shore, but that wasn't super big. But I don't like big spawn rooms. I don't think a spawn room should be big. That's just me. I say I don't like them. That sounds kind of silly, but it just seems, I don't know, it's a little odd. For the one challenge you had to stay there for 20 minutes, it made it very doable because it was so big.
In my opinion,
20 rounds, sorry, not 20 minutes.
The bigger it is, it kind of encourages you to stay there.
In a way, yeah. But I would see when the higher the rounds, those apartment areas are death traps. Like it is not a good. I never stay in there like on a high round at all, especially when you're trying to do the safe. Here are the areas in general. There's 8 playable areas: the spawn room, the apartments, the main street, museum, cabaret, the plaza, the church. The courtyard, secret area, and I guess 9 actually. Excuse me, if you count the Zeppelin. What did you like? What did you guys think about the map? Like the details? Did you like the details at all? Did you think? What do you think? Like, was it a good thought process when you played this? Like, wow, this is way different. This is not what I expected. This is much better, or detail wise.
Yeah, in my personal view, I feel it redeemed itself because I remember you telling me when the Darkest Shore came out that they hadn't finished it like that. There was a whole area of the map that was like blocked off that was going to be originally a part of the map.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I liked how there was a zombie attacking a Russian soldier. That was pretty cool.
That is really cool. I love doing that. Little side note for that: if you actually are fast enough, you can kill the Russian before the zombie does. I have only done it one time, and I did it with the trench knife, and pretty much you're just stabbing them in the head. But I mean, it's kind of cool. I mean, I have not seen them. One time they attacked me. He attacked me, and it was. I thought it was something that was supposed to be normal, but it was definitely a glitch. You could tell they flopped. They traded places. The zombie laid down on the ground, and the guy was. It was weird. But it didn't happen any other time. It was only that one time. What about you, Kick? What do you think about what your first appearances or first thoughts on the Shadow Throne when you first played it?
I like that they actually put a lot more detail in it than they did the Darkest Shore because I know that they were understaffed. But I like the fact that you had a Russian soldier and a zombie attack you, and then you had like all these side Easter eggs, which is pretty cool. Like the cabaret sign Easter egg where you can get like jacks, or you get these random hats. Yeah, the hats. You get this random amount of words you have to spell, and it could be like jacks for the first time, or it could be something different. So I kind of like that they put a lot of detail process into it.
Yeah, that hangman Easter egg was really a cool idea. I mean, it was something simple. It was simple. Okay. It was. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I was trying to figure out what it was. It was called the Hangman.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot.
No, I love that. It was something very easy for them to do, but it was it made a big impact because you could get Jack in the Box, and you would have somebody else still go to the box and get them. Because relatively, anytime, no matter what map it is, except for the Tortured Path. I'm sorry about the bells. In Tortured Path. Tortured Path is different because the boxes are all mystery boxes, essentially, the ones. But any other time you play on the normal maps, or what have you, you relatively can get jacks kind of quickly in like 3-4 spins, maybe. After that, it takes longer for the next person to get it. So having that hangman there made things much nicer. So you can have multiple people get them in a relatively easy. I say easy, but
it's kind of like if someone got the ray gun out of the box.
Yeah.
I hate to draw that comparison, but it'd be harder. It'd be basically impossible.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, no, exactly. That's how it should be. It shouldn't be. You shouldn't have 4 people getting a ray gun. That's stupid.
That's just too easy.
But yeah, that's the other thing is because I say it's easy, to get that, getting the hangman or spelling the words, but the issue was, the only, you know, not negative, but hard bit about that was you had to spell the word. So for Jack of the Boxes, you had to spell the Jack box. But if you spelled out the first word and it didn't show up, you have to spell all these other words before you can get to that word sometimes. Sometimes it'd be the first one. It was rare for me to ever get Jackbox the first word. It's usually like the third or fourth word every time I had to get them. And that takes time. You're standing there shooting, you know, the arrows and then the select button, you know, but still, the premise of it was really fun and really good.
That really intrigued me when you told me about it.
Yeah, because it really made it was a game changer. It made things much more doable for the Easter egg, getting Jacks. Because that boss fight, you have to have Jacks.
I feel like that's why they did it, because they knew the boss fight was going to be challenging and you definitely get overrun.
Yeah. Now, I mean, the Stadjäger isn't one of the most difficult. He's more difficult than Panzermortar. The Meisterbüchler is still the hardest boss to this date. Now, we'll see with the Barbarossa. But then...
Like,
go ahead, man.
Yeah, you need Jacks for that boss fight, because I know how confined it is, and like as soon as I saw the Hangman Easter egg, I knew I fell in love with the map instantly, because you could pretty much spawn every power up you could think of.
Right.
Like,
well, you can do all the power ups. You can get the Wonder Weapon from the Tesla gun, the original Tesla gun, and the Ripsaw, which is really cool. I actually like doing that. That was actually kind of fun. You get Jacks, and like Kick said, every power up you can get. Let's see, what else? And then, like Mcnulty said, the hat Easter egg. That was really fun. That's pretty cool, too. Basically, what that was is you had to collect all the hats, and you had to put them on the cheetah in a certain order every time. It's the same order every time. And once you put the last hat on there, it would spawn every power-up in a row. So that'd be maybe nice for, like, the beginning of a boss fight or something like that, and you didn't have power, you know, your special meter full, or you needed ammo. I did it a bunch of times, so I knew where it was. I don't know if any of you guys did. You guys learn where the hats were and try that at all?
I haven't, honestly.
Okay.
Me neither.
Yeah.
As much as I played that map, I really didn't.
Yeah, I made myself like Shadow Throne is probably I played that map more than any other. I played that thing to death.
Yeah, that's definitely the case for me.
Yeah, every time we played it, you always did the hat Easter egg, because you knew where they were and we didn't.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the new zombie type, and this is what I love about World War II Nazi zombies: is each map you can expect to have a new type of zombie, except maybe not for Torture Path, except for the boss in the third chapter. You would get like a normal, you know, zombie AI you'd face normally, and then you'd get a new boss, which I thought was really cool. So this time around, the Shadow Throne, you got the Gekok, and I'm probably saying that wrong in German, but that's what it sounded like to me, and that's what most people called it, but that's what we're going to call him, the Gekok. Some people call him the Fire Zombie, but I tried to say it the way he should be pronounced, or it was supposed to be pronounced, but whatever. The Gekok can only be spawned in by Straub and his Zeppelin, but only after contacting the Russians with the radio. And the Gekoks are... What was crazy to me is I didn't know this at first. Even after watching like the videos I did when it came out on PlayStation, I guess it just didn't trigger me watching it. Then I was doing other stuff while I was watching those videos. But the Gekok, it's faster than you are, no matter what, no matter stamina up or anything. How did you guys feel about that? Was it like a WTF moment, or did you like, wow, this is not what I expected?
Oh yes, yeah,
for sure. It kind of threw me off a bit, honestly.
Yeah.
I thought I'd be able to outrun him, because usually you can, but no.
Yeah.
They catch right up to you. They Usain Bolt right up to you.
Yeah.
Like, I found out a few ways how to outrun him, although they're kind of simple strategies, but like, it's not easy, but it's not difficult either to outrun him.
Are you talking about like on the main street? Like you jump down into the sewer?
Yeah, like I always go on the main street, go down the floorboard, and then go up back the stairs in the apartments and keep going around.
Okay.
And that's why when I saw the achievement where you have to train the Gekok on the stage for 1 minute, I was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
That was annoying.
Yeah, it was annoying. You know what? It wasn't that bad, because I realized that this is why I love World War II zombies, Nazi zombies 2, is the modifications and the fact that I feel like Nazi zombies, in my opinion, is based in very heavy on strategy. So when I was thinking, I'm like, all right, how can I get this achievement? What mod maybe can I use? I just do that with everything I got stuck on. And I thought, he needs to be on there for a minute, and I have to keep him there. But he's going to be up my ass all the time. And then I realized I have Sustain Zone and Shell Shock, which will keep him in place the entire time. And I have special meters, so I just did that, and he stayed in place the whole time, and then I got the achievement that way.
Oh, you did it the easy way. I
call it the intelligent way. And that's not the easy. What easy? Yes, it was easy because it was intelligent and smart, and I thought of it. But anyway, But what were you gonna say, Kick? I'm sorry, we keep cutting you off.
Like it's all right. I was kind of thinking that though, because like you could train him around, but the easiest way to get that achievement is to use sustain zone to place him there for like an entire minute or so, which wasn't that bad.
I thought that would like cancel it out though. I thought it'd be like, nope, that's kind of cheating.
Yeah.
I thought that. That's why I trained
I get it. No, I see what you mean. Yeah, I thought it might too, but you know, it worked. I mean, I tried it before it did it, and it worked the first time I did it. Like, because before then, it was just like, see, the annoying part, it was like when you tried to actually do it, run around. First of all, Kick was trying to do it, and he was like, dude, it's not working. I've been there 5 minutes. He's running behind the screen each time. You have to be on the front part of the stage for the entire minute. You can't run behind the screen at all, and it can't, or else it'll cancel it.
That was my biggest mistake. I didn't know that until you told me, so I'm kind of glad you told me, because I didn't really know that I didn't know that back part wasn't part of the stage, but I should have figured that out way before.
I mean, you can't. I mean, otherwise, I'm sorry, but there's no other way you could have done that, because you can't go on the floor, you can't go on the steps. The amount of room to run is so tiny, and this thing is faster than you no matter what normally. So he's gonna hit you. Yeah. So it was just.
See, when I did it, I kept that in mind, what Nate had done, because it says on the stage, not backstage.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
I kept that in mind.
Let's see, but the first Gekok, he's also part of the Easter egg, which I thought was kind of nice too. The first Gekok he made, he gave you 2 pieces to the Wonder Weapon, the Wonder Bus. One of the 2 pieces, excuse me. The Geist Ball, that was the inner part of the Wonder Bus. They are, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure. Yeah, they have another Easter egg step as well. But you need to get the Gekok souls for the Nazi axe. The wall outside of the church courtyard, the souls will unlock. You know, the door allowed you to get into the courtyard. But then you needed the head first, to get and put it on the scale. Then you get the souls, and then you needed to kill 10 Gekoks as well. But anyway, so what did you think about the Gekok compared to the other, compared to the Whistlings and the Mutilers? Did you think it's any harder, or it's not as bad, or to me, it's still the Mutilers are the hardest, but that's just me.
The thing about the Gekok is it's the speed that made it strong.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, if it was much slower, it wouldn't be as intimidating.
No. You know what else though? I thought really was kind of odd is it's like it looks like it's on fire, but it doesn't explode in your face. Then again, that's what a bomber does because it has that bomb. But I was thinking of Shangri-La.
Zombies.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Shangri-La when I thought about that, but
yeah.
But that's just me. Yeah, because really they weren't that bad because you rarely would get more than one at a time if you notice that. The only time I would notice you get more than one is when you come out of the courtyard after doing the statue step. Anyway, you don't realize how strong or how powerful the Gekoks are until you play the Tortured Path. And you have 32 of them coming at you. And that shit, I really hate that step now. It's really fucking annoying. But anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, you're going to say?
Yeah. Yeah, to me the Gekok was, like Ian said, his speed was ridiculous. That was really the only thing that he had the advantage of was he was faster than us, but he wasn't really any tougher than the Mutiler anyway. Yeah. So his speed was his only advantage. Yeah. Really. But he was an interesting zombie, like the Mutiler. He was interesting.
He looked badass.
Yeah, he did.
I'll admit he did. I first saw a photo of him on Twitter and I'm like, wow, what is this? I'm like, what are we gonna deal with? And it's a fire zombie. I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah. See, that's the thing, but I say fire, though. I thought the same thing, fire, but he doesn't technically catch you on fire. At least I would have, have him catch me on fire a little bit or something, or diminish my health a tiny bit. Then again, he's fast. And he does, and when he does hit you, you have to admit, he does hit your health down pretty fast, though, if you're not paying attention. Or you're not being quick enough, which is, usually when you're dealing with multiple zombies. That's just something I've noticed.
I mean, when you think about it though, he's not on fire, but Strap's shooting a regular zombie. What would he be made out of? Is it Geistcraft?
It's probably a mix. Well, he's obviously on fire. You can see the fire, but it's probably a mix of the two. It's usually the mix of the two. But
okay.
But all right. So we're gonna move on to the Easter egg itself, which is for me the best part of this entire map. This is definitely, in my opinion, the funnest Easter egg out of all of them. Thus far. It was it's like, I don't want to call it casual because there were some very difficult parts in this Easter egg.
It was like a regular old Easter egg, I'd say.
Yeah, it was very fun, very easy to learn. But
I think that's why I like the Shadow Throne so much, is because I actually kind of learned that Easter egg, unlike the other ones.
That's true.
I just had you guys do all the other ones.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Probably because the Shadow Throne isn't as complex as the Shadow Throne, because the Shadow Throne was much easier to learn than the Darkest Shore. Because the Darkest Shore had much more to do than the Shadow Throne, if you think about it. But
yeah, I mean, we beat it in the first time we beat it, it was like an hour and almost 50 minutes, close to that. Then we got to the point where the fastest time we have it is an hour and 15 minutes. That's what me and Kick did it, or me and Kick and Ono did it in an hour and 15 minutes. So you can really, I mean, there's a challenge to beat it in 30 minutes. The fastest time that was ever done on Xbox was 15 minutes, which is crazy to think about. But
Christ on a cracker.
You really need to know. No, I mean, like, you see, the other way you can get the challenge for the 30 minutes bit is every single person has to know the Easter egg, and they have to know it well. Because you can't be stopping and asking questions and like, what do I do to do this? What do I do to that? You have to know it. That's the only way you're going to get that.
Shut up and do it.
Exactly. It's the only way you're going to get that. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time. Pretty much the Easter egg, after contacting the Russians via the radio on Main Street, Straub sends his anchors down to keep the Zeppelin in place above the map for the duration of the Easter egg. Actually, even after the Easter egg, to be frank. After assembling the Wonder Bus, which is the Wonder Weapon. Real quick, actually, go to that. What did you guys think about the Wonder Bus? Did you like that at all? Because it was a strong gun. I mean, there's an achievement to kill 50 Gekkoks, which was kind of tedious, in my opinion. But
yeah, that sucked. I don't know why I did that, but I did it.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. I said you doing this. Go ahead, Kick.
The Wonder Bus, to me, it had a advantage and a disadvantage to it. I like the fact that you can get more ammo from it when you put the Geistcraft on the zombie and it like absorbs the Geistcraft out of them. And the other down part is I didn't like about it that you kind of wasted ammo too much quickly, like when you're shooting one of those anchors like in the museum or the courtyard or like,
yeah, I agree on that.
It had to take all of your ammo, which is completely stupid. Like,
yeah, well, you know what they did that? I think they made it to give you more of the difficulty factor of it, because it's forcing you to interact with the zombies. To go back and interact.
World War II Zombies isn't easy in any aspect, so I kind of see why they did that.
Yeah, like John said, you really have to strategize every time you play.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just go right into it and say, alright, I'm just going to play.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just going to play, then you're just doing high rounds and surviving, and that's cool. I love that, just like the next zombie player does. But if you're going to do the Easter egg, you got to have some brains, and you got to really think about some of the stuff you're going to do, especially when you're getting stuck on something.
Okay, think about it. Like, it's a cooperative zombies mode. It's not meant for solo. It's meant for 4 people. It's a cooperative mode that you really need to work as a team in order to figure these things out.
Yeah, you
really love.
Yeah, you do got to work as a team to make it easier.
Yeah,
it makes it easier.
I'm gonna go more into that when we reach the boss fight. Because I feel like the Shadow Throne, it really made us like communicate as a team.
Oh yeah.
It really did.
The Darkest Shore and the Shadow Throne were the same in that bit for me. But yeah, we'll go in there here in a minute. So pretty much after you get the Wonder Bus, our characters have to acquire 3 melee weapons that are also keys and soul boxes. Each time you have the dagger, the Dancer's Dagger, the Nazi Axe, and the Smuggler's Bat. The Smuggler's Bat was the easiest one to get because you really didn't have to do much but put a gun, which was very easy. It took us, it's funny, I think we beat the Easter egg and then realized this. The table that the Wonder Bus is on, there's ammo on a pile in front of the Wonder Bus, and it's different. It changes each map, and I saw that, and I'm like, I wonder if that is what that is. And I went to it was shotgun shells. I went and got a combat shotgun, put it in there, and it worked the first time. Did it the second time, it was SMG ammo. Got the MP40, put it in there, it worked that. So, really cool that I figured that out. I mean, obviously other people figured that out before me on PlayStation, but I love figuring stuff out on your own without having to look it up. But anyway, what out of those 3 melee weapons, which one did you guys like the most? Mcnulty, you go first.
Definitely the dagger.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because it gives you armor, and it really helped during the boss fight when we went down.
That thing was
lost our armor.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like based on cosmetics, I like all of them because they all look so damn cool, especially the Smuggler's Bat.
Yeah, they were cool. I like the Smuggler's Bat, like the second ability. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying with the spikes sticking out and shit.
Yeah, cool. It was pretty cool. I like the Smuggler's Bat, the second ability, when you would bring it down over your head and you would have that Geistcraft like strike come out of it and you can kill like 6 at once. That was pretty cool. But yeah, the dagger for me was my favorite one. What about you, Kip?
Take out
Definitely the dagger. Like every time we went to the boss fight, it helped us to get our health and our armor back. Like if you didn't have the dagger, then you'd pretty much be fucked. Like we can already say that. Yeah. But I love the dagger. I love all the other melee weapons, and I love the fact that the map is so melee oriented because there's like 7 or 8 different melees.
I love that. That is so cool. I'm so glad they did this. Only thing is, I wish you could have pack-a-punched them. I really do, because, I mean, you get the melee perk, which you can use those melee weapons up to 25, the 3 key melee weapons. You can use it up to round 25, then it takes you 2 hits from that. But I wish you could pack-a-punch. You can pack-a-punch them on the survival maps for the Tortured Path. Obviously,
I see why they didn't incorporate that, though.
No, I do too. Yeah. I do too. Now that I think about it, I do. I totally understand it, because it would have been overkill. It would have been too much, personally. But
like you get the melee perk, you pack a punch them. Yeah, you're going like 550s.
Exactly. You're not. It's not. It's ridiculous. Yeah, definitely. See, this is the thing. This is the other thing about World War II Zombies. I love the Easter egg flow so well with the storyline. Each map, even the final rank, each Easter egg is so intricate and they flow really well with the story. It makes sense. That's my biggest pet peeve about IW and Exo Zombies. You were doing the most random shit sometimes that it was like, why am I doing this? It was like it was put there just to be like it was put in the fucking shit just to have something to do. It was like, you're gonna tell me none of you fuckers could have thought something that logically would have made sense to do? You're just putting random shit in here to just waste up my fucking time?
Burger Town, for example. Why do you gotta make a fucking burger? Doesn't make sense.
It's just so stupid.
Yeah, like
the escort mission. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get on Exo Zombies and waste everybody's time with that. So basically, you get all those 3 weapons, you put them on the wall, and then they turn into soul boxes. You need to get 20 regular zombie kills, then you need to get 10 Gekka kills, and then you get a 10 pest kills. Now, when that happens, the door opens up, and little side note, you can get stuck on the door. That happened like kicked like at least 3 times.
We learned that the hard way.
Like he kept getting stuck. I was like, we kept telling him he kept getting stuck.
I got crushed twice or 3 times. I can't remember.
It was one or the other. Yeah, it was funny though. But I mean, I guess it makes sense.
Tell me, like,
it made sense.
Like what?
Yeah, I mean they fixed it.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of laughed when I died. I was like, "What? I died? Are you kidding me?" I'm like, "Wow, that's so dumb." But it was.
They'd have that under control, you know.
Yeah, we got like 15 minutes left to finish this. So all right, so pretty much when you go inside, this is for me the hardest step out of the entire Easter egg, and that is the statue step. There are 2 ways to do it. One, you can just go Google it, and there are websites that tell you which way you need to turn. Basically, the idea is there are 4 walls. The first wall has 3 statues. All the other ones have 4. Each time you shoot, you have to, first off, you have to close the doors to activate the walls. Then you have to shoot the statues. The idea premise being is you have to have all statues, whatever wall I'm looking at. So Sam's looking at the first one. There's 3 statues. I need to have all 3 of those statues facing me. The problem is each time you shoot one, it turns another one. So you have to figure out which one it turns and which one is not going to turn the right way. So I finally managed to do it without looking it up, finally. But it was still very difficult.
I tell you, that step, 1, it brought out the worst in all of us, I'd say.
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah, it was difficult. But
2, it made me think, how the hell do people figure this shit out?
I mean, that step, I mean, yes, you could say that, but at the same time, you think about it, eventually you're shooting something, and you're like, okay, wait a minute, this has to be, something. I mean, yeah, but yes, that's true. It does make that. But anyway, once you turn all 4 of them, you get a golden raven. Each wall he's gonna be facing a little bit different each time you pick them up. Then you have to take the 4 golden ravens and put them on the Barbarossa statue in the middle of the courtyard. Once you put them on the correct way, the sword will come undone and you will be there to grab. You can put the blade, the blade will be undone. You put it in the wall, the door opens back up, and then you have the blade and you can use that. Now, the ending, the boss fight. Before we go into it, what did you want to say about the boss fight, Mcnulty's? Sorry, I didn't mean to
it just made us like all communicate.
Yeah.
Really, like we really have to communicate in order to beat this boss fight. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it really, that's what I noticed that, like, there was times me and Kick would do it, because we were trying to get the challenge where you can't get knocked down at all, and of course I didn't get knocked down the entire game, none of us did, and then as soon as we get in there and we're like lackadaisical, we get knocked down. It's very, like, then again, it's very not hard to get knocked down either, especially if you're standing still. That's what I noticed, like, I wanted to yell at Caleb sometimes, because he'd be standing there. I'm like, move! Just move, you're gonna get knocked down, he would.
Or he, like, you throw your monkey and he'd say, or Jack, he'd say, "Nope, throw her Jack," right after.
Yeah, he wasn't. Yeah, Caleb's good. I'm not trying to bash on him, but he wouldn't listen sometimes. It's like, I know you heard me. Like, it's not. I try. That's what you got to yell about first, then wait a second, see if anybody else does, and then
that's why I say this boss fight and the steps really brought out the worst in us in a way.
Yeah.
Because lack of communication at some points, like when we used the stain zones at the same time, that's just a waste, and we really needed that in order to beat the Stadjäger.
Yeah.
Like, if we can really communicate, do the Easter egg steps well, do the boss fight well, then we'll definitely get a good result. We'll definitely beat it. Yeah,
because pretty much what the story-wise is, you come up into the elevator. Well, basically it's a pod. You're getting brought up. You all have to shoot your your Wonderbus. I'm sorry, full ammo. At the same time, you get brought up into the Zeppelin. When you're in there, there's a set of computer panels that it's just guide the light to the end of the track kind of thing. It's like a maze almost, but it's very simple. And you're opening up different like bar doors, whatever, and then which is leading you to Straub inside. Here is the end part that I have to talk about. You can't avoid this at all. We can't talk about the Shadow Throne without talking about the demise of Dr. Straub and him being killed. I thought this was the best thing that World War II Nazi zombies could have done. You killed your main protagonist off on the second DLC map. That is awesome. Now, I know people kind of got deteriorated away from, they didn't like the Tortured Path that much. Some people didn't. You do see him in the Tortured Path. I'm not going to go into it here, but I thought for the Shadow Throne purposes, it is one of the coolest things. I was like, wow, they literally just killed him off. It blew my mind. It was amazing. I really loved it.
It also made you think, like, there's no doubt that the boss is definitely going to be Barbossa.
Oh, for sure. It's
not going to be Straub.
Yeah, and that was like, so go ahead, Kick.
It's got to be him. Like, with all the story stuff and leading up to Barbarossa, all the four characters talking about him, like, how would it not be Barbarossa? Like, we're assembling his sword.
I hate to, like, nitpick at Caleb again, but Caleb kept saying this to me, or to us. He's like, well, maybe it's not, how you know it's going to be Barbarossa? And then we would say that to him, like, Caleb, every single map has got a glaring thing about Barbarossa in it. Like,
who else is it going to be?
There's no other person it can be. I mean, my God, the Final Reich was huge on Barbarossa. There was a giant cave, a salt mine cave with his giant statue in the middle of it. Like, it was, like, really, like, it can't be anybody else.
When Caleb said it was going to be, like, Straub was going to become a big zombie, like, Exo Zombies.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case. I don't, but it'd be shocking if it was.
Yeah, I remember he said about Straub being Barbarossa, which is impossible because he's already dead. Like, I remember him saying that. But
yeah,
that doesn't make any sense.
I've heard recently, I'm not trying to get off topic here, but I heard today that, and this is from the Gaming Revolution, who I take no fucking grain of salt. I have no respect for that guy. He's a huge clickbaiter. He's saying that they're going to bring, that Straub and Klaus are going to come back and you have to fight them. I really don't believe that for one fucking second, dude.
Why would that be the case?
Exactly. There's no, I'm like, dude, I commented on this thing. I was like, please explain to me where you got that assumption at. I was like, there is no proof in any of the recordings, in any of the story whatsoever that has that coming out. That doesn't make any goddamn sense at all. Like, you can go to the websites. There's plenty of websites on World War II Nazi zombies, including Sledgehammer's websites about it. But anyway, I don't want to mix it up with that. So basically, the boss fight itself wasn't as hard as the Darkest Shore. Like, I think we all can agree on that. But it was very difficult because I love the 3-stage thing. It was just like, you had 3 stages in the Darkest Shore, but it was 3 stages as in you had to kill him differently, like do something different each time. And I thought that was very cool. But it was a challenge too. It was different because I didn't want to do the same thing. I don't want to just keep bullet sponging this guy. Yes, okay, we were shooting him, but you had to do it at certain times or else it wouldn't, you had no effect on. What did you guys think about those 3 mixes? It's a change. I guess Mcnulty, you go ahead first.
It's definitely different, and I have to agree with you. I wouldn't want to just be laying into a zombie or a boss.
Yeah.
For like, 5 minutes straight.
Dude, that's a lot of the other boss fights were like that. Right, yeah. Mm-hmm. That's true. What about you?
I just like how it mixes it up, throws it in the mix.
Yeah. What about you, Kick?
I actually did love the three stages, like the Darkest Shore, although you were shooting the mutilars, but the 3 stages of the Stadjäger was like amazing because he wasn't a big bullet sponge. Like, you had to use your regular gun when he was like glowing, and then you had to shoot your Wonderbus at him and then just like keep lighting him up. Like, yeah. I love the 3 stages.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it needed, see, that's the other thing is like the Wonderbus, going back to that, you needed that gun the entire time because of the different things you need to do around the map. You need to shoot all the anchors, then you needed it for the boss fight itself at the end. That's what made it frustrating, is if you had no ammo whatsoever, you had to keep harpooning zombies as he's doing his, like, lightning cloud thing, which was really devastating, especially if he kept doing it and doing it.
And that's why I like World War II zombies, because, well, not like, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's because
you enjoy it.
It makes you think outside the box, in a way.
Yeah.
It makes you think of stuff you wouldn't use.
Yeah.
Like, the 3-gun mod on, for the mod.
Yeah.
I would never use that.
No,
but,
I wouldn't really either.
I mean, I guess you don't really have to do that, but, again, it really helps.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Trying to think what else in this boss fight. The other thing, too, is, right, go back to the Jack-in-the-Boxes. You need the Jack-in-the-Boxes to do this boss fight. I've never seen anybody not use them. I mean, maybe if everybody had a lot of special mods or special consumables, you can keep popping those, but you can only do that once a round.
The rounds are so scarce.
They really are, exactly, because the rounds, they're not like normal rounds because there's extra zombies involved in them that it enhances it and makes it keep going. For me, I really enjoyed it. I guess for me, let's see, anything else? I guess let's go to the end here in the cutscenes. One other thing, and we talked about this in the Darkest Shore. Darkest Shore had, I think, probably in the final rank, probably had those two maps had the longest cutscenes. One of my big pet peeves, and I don't like this. They did it in IW. Black Ops was the only ones. Black Ops 3 was the only COD Zombies game that gave us a lot of content in the cutscenes. Intro and ending. Those cutscenes in the Shadow Throne, I was like, what? The intro was okay, but the ending, I was like, what was that? And where did the Mcnulty come from? What was he going to steal? He was on the roof the whole time and just now decided to come and attack us? It didn't make any sense. It was the stupidest thing ever. I didn't understand that. I did not like that at all.
And it leaves you in the dark.
It does.
Yeah.
Which is okay.
It leaves a lot. It leaves a lot of questions that need to be answered. There's a blank. Yeah.
I didn't understand that. I mean, now, people were asking, oh, Rideau just came out of nowhere. Well, actually, if you go back and you listen to some of the recordings and talk, and you go after to some of the websites, and now I know you got to do extra work to find this stuff out, and I understand some people don't like that. Caleb is one of those people, and I'm not trying to keep ragging on Jets, but Rideau...
We love you, Caleb.
Yeah. Basically, Rideau was radioed by the characters during the Easter egg, and which they were not that far away from our position. So they were relatively close, and they could come back, and Rideau wasn't that far. So that's why he showed up the way he did. If you didn't know that, though, it was like, well, where the hell, what? Like, at first when I saw that, and I didn't know that information, I'm like, this is kind of shady. Why did you just show up now, and you just saved the day kind of thing? But because everyone thinks that he's going to turn on everybody, and I don't know, maybe. But
maybe. I
don't know. But anyway, all right, let's give our reviews. We're going to end part 2 of the Generation Gaming's review of Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies. Let's go start with Kickapooh. What's your rating for the Shadow Throne?
I give it a 10 out of 10, and here's why. Because I love the Easter egg. I love how it flows with the story. And then as soon as you get to the blimp, like, everything makes sense. As soon as you get to the blimp, they killed off our antagonist, which was a fucking amazing, little step.
Yeah.
I love that so much. They killed off the antagonist, yeah. So 10 out of 10 for me.
What about you, Mcnulty?
I gave it a 9 out of 10. The map really flowed well. Geckocks weren't too bad considering they were so fast.
Yeah. Okay.
But when it came to the boss fight, I hated how it brought out the worst in us, but I guess that's really what I really like about zombies.
Yeah. No, that's true. I do that. I can respect that. I do understand that.
I hated how the cutscene just left us in the dark.
I didn't like that
either. Gave us no hints whatsoever.
Yeah. The recordings didn't give us anything either. But
yeah, I mean, the recordings are better than the cutscenes. I didn't like the cutscenes. They were too short. They left a lot of questions, and they're just blank.
Yeah, that's true. For me, I'm going to give the same thing as Mcnulty's 9 out of... more like, it's 9 out of 10 sounds about right. My pet peeves basically were, the cutscenes were too short. You didn't have enough information. One thing I did meant to mention, the recordings were very cool in the Shadow Throne because they're little tiny Easter eggs, how you had to get the girl to wake up. You had some other stuff. You had to get, one of them was in the boss fight in the Zeppelin. You had to beat the boss fight to get that recording. What is that note? And then, trying to think what else. And then the last one, you had to shoot all the lights inside the cabaret. But anyway, for me, yeah, it was that. That was the only thing. The cutscene was my only issue with it. The boss fight, yeah, it kind of just get a little hectic at times, but everything else just was so great. I love the attention to detail, the side Easter eggs, how the Easter egg flows together. But other than that, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely my favorite map so far. So pretty much that is going to be the end of part 2 of Generation Gaming's review of Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies. I want to thank you, Kickapooh. Thank you, Mcnulty. Thank you guys for joining. It was a really great podcast. This is going to be on the Generation Gaming YouTube channel. It's going to also be, obviously, on Facebook pages as well. Is there anything you guys want to add and before we roll out of here?
I'd just like to say thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
I had a really fun time. Speaking my mind.
Yeah,
in future ones.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for having me as well. Definitely do this and more in the future. And one more thing I want to add. The only thing I didn't like about the map was the lack of cutscenes, the Getcock, and pretty much that's about it. So, yeah.
Cool. Thanks, man. Well, thank you guys so much for watching and checking us out. Part 3 is going to come in our final review of Call of Duty World War II Nazi Zombies. It's going to come after DLC 4 is released. We're going to have the Tortured Path, DLC 3, and then whatever DLC 4 is going to be named, we're going to do that as well. Thank you so much for Kickapooh, Mcnulty's. I am Jay Lewis. This is Generation Gaming, the video game news outlet made for the gamers, by the gamers. Join the revolution to put the gamers' voice first.